about their image. And I think
Hi,
it's a
happy
general thing,
Songkran. This is
not just about
Jeng-Chyang,
skin, but also what they wear.
Rajabhat Research
Chinese men are increasingly interested
Corporation.
in looking good.
We got lots of
According to
things to
short
talk
video
about
platform
today,
Douyin, sales for makeup marketed for men
and
jumped
most important,
27-fold
happy
year-on-year during a
Songkran
March discount event. To cater to
today.
this growing customer base, Wang Weibin helped launch Refresh in 2019. Their best seller is a cleansing foam.
Let me show you. It's a foamy texture which is very mild and doesn't hurt
I'll
the skin.
pin it down and we'll get
The men's
started.
skincare brand raked in over 230 million
We'll
euros
get
in sales
started
in
here with the
2023,
displays.
growing 40% in just 1 year.
Our current customer base is mostly 18 to 30-year-olds. But the skincare habits you develop when you're young will stay with you the rest of your life. So with this demographic, and with time, China's male skincare market has much potential.
One research company estimates that China's male skincare market could be worth 2.6 billion euros by 2026.
And here in France, players in the clothing sector, whether they're brands, associations, or manufacturers, are currently sharing their thoughts with the government on a new scoring system to assess the environmental
Working on my
impact of clothes.
displays.
Ahead of a formal decree in May and implementation in the fall. Camille
Boy,
Knight and our colleagues from
NHK do mail.
It's another attempt from the French
Goes to the
government
far
to
window.
ban the fast fashion
G20
industry.
News.
This time, it's in the form of a so-called eco score, a way of labeling the environmental impact of a piece of clothing.
There's a lot of waste, so I think we should try to limit the damage a little,
The idea is to provide consumers with a snapshot of an item's ecological footprint to incite them to be more conscious about what they buy. The score will be generated using a combination of factors, including composition, the country it was made in, durability, water consumption, the use of pesticides, and the volumes of production. The higher the score, the more impact it has on the environment. Some brands are already one step ahead. This quarter has already come up with a QR code which makes the clothes traceable.
Hi guys.
Trace the origin of the material. So, for example,
I
here
was
the yarn
back
comes
with
from
this
Australia.
morning. It's
It was
okay.
important for us to give our customers
Well,
this
the hardest this
information.
morning
It's our
is
job to educate
Oh,
consumers so that they really understand what is behind a
James.
piece of clothing.
In France,
say I
people are
couldn't
buying
sleep, so I
30%
just
more clothes
got
than
up
they
at
were a decade ago.
about
In
6
2016,
and went
the
to Hardee's
textile
because my
industry
girl
represented
ain't
8%
at
of
Waffle
CO2
House
emissions.
anyway
The
until
French
8.
government fears that could rise to 25%
Hardee's.
in the next
They got
5
this
years.
new
But many in the
biscuits.
industry
I
are
got this
critical of France's labelling idea,
super
pointing to the nuances
sausage
of the
biscuit.
French
It's 2
criteria
pieces of
and the
sausage,
impossibility
fried
of
egg,
combining
cheese.
all factors into a
They
single
got one
score.
with bacon.
The measure will be implemented on a voluntary
Should have
basis
got the bacon.
starting
That's
this
just too
autumn,
much
but
sausage.
could become compulsory in
But
2025.
they're in the
And
super
that's all for
size.
this week. You
They-
can watch
they,
all of our previous shows by searching for
they made
People
that
and Profit on the
illegal
France 24 app or website or on the podcast
2 years
platform
ago.
of your choice.
Super
If you have
size,
any
but they're
questions or
back at
comments,
it.
feel free to reach out to us on social media.
But
Anytime. Thank
Lex
you for watching.
Burton was in there. There's some people.
But like adore his brother. He was feeling under weather yesterday, so I told him not to come in. But they are amazing. Brothers. I mean,
I think he goes in there every morning.
yeah, everyone, and he's got his routine every morning.
I think he goes. All of them goes in there and gets their senior coffee free. And that girl asked me after she said, when I went back up there to pick my order up, the girl said, you want a jelly biscuit? I guess they give it you free if you're a senior, a jelly biscuit too. I think they go in there and get their senior coffee and jelly biscuit. I think for free. That's why I might start doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gave me this cup. It's got some sticky on the side of it. It kind of melted off.
Syrup.
Yeah. There's some interesting people in there. They was talking about George Reed. They were saying George Reed said he don't even touch his Social Security. He just lives off what he makes from towing trucks. So he had a state retire from the university and he towed vehicles. And then they were saying some other guy who used to sell peanuts down at Road 18 in 88. And they thought his name was Cotton. They wasn't sure. He said that he didn't touch his Social Security. He lived on what he made selling boiled peanuts. They're some interesting guys.
Yeah, they're more power to it. The Burton brothers are
Yeah.
like a local icon here. They're great.
And there was somebody that was driving a BMW. He complained about how much it cost to get the brakes on it. And another guy said he said he brought a BMW back from Europe, and he said it was just so expensive to get it worked on. He said he wouldn't mind a BMW. That's a nice little BMW.
Yeah, but they sew that into the contract, the maintenance, and if you cannot afford it.
But yeah, then they're talking about water leaks. This water leaks used to be terrible until they came up with that shark bite. Then a couple of them said, yeah, I remember doing plumbing work, and they said they would feed the pipe bread. That would stop the leak. Yeah, because he said one time he said his woman's house. I didn't know him. I think they called him Jerry. And he said he asked for some bread, and that woman said, "What do you want on it?" He said, "I want just plain bread." I ain't gonna feed you plain bread. He said, "I'm not gonna eat it. I'm gonna feed you pies." I never heard of that. Put bread in a pipe to stop a leak.
Organic.
We'll have analysis from our international affairs editor, Philip.
That just stops it.
At least 6 people confirmed dead in Sydney, Australia, after a knife attack at a shopping center. The suspect was shot dead by police who say they do not believe that terrorism
to
was the
my
motive.
followers around the world.
And Haiti formalizes the
9:00.
creation of its 9-member
I changed
transitional
the time
council.
to
The
9
first
o'clock.
step to restoring security, though the
9:15.
members have not been named, and a timeline for
Yes.
installing them
I'm working
is yet
at the
to be
same time.
established.
I used to do it for an hour. It's just too much.
Okay. First part.
9:30.
Thank you for joining
You,
us.
you,
We begin
you're
once
gonna,
again in the Strait of Hormuz, where Iran's
wait-
Revolutionary Guard
wait a
has
little while.
seized an Israeli-affiliated container ship.
the
A group of
water
commandos
in for-
rappelled down from a
Oh, yeah.
helicopter to board the vessel.
What do you
It was
think about
identified
this
as a Portuguese
letter
flagged
here? I need
ship
to change it a
associated with
little bit.
London-based
I
Zodiac
know I need to change it a
Maritime,
lot.
part of a group
What do you
owned
think
by
about
Israeli
advertising like
billionaires.
that?
It comes as the region has been bracing for reprisal
First
from
is,
Iran after
too
a
long.
deadly strike on its
Yeah,
consulate
I
in Syria
can't-
earlier this month. Israel's foreign minister reacted, accusing Tehran of conducting piracy. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. Philip, good to see you. What more can you tell us about this ship and the conditions under which it was seized?
Well, the attack happened right in the middle of the night, 2:35 a.m. GMT this morning, when the ship was travelling just off the coast of Japan.
I would change that active
That was where it was
first.
on Friday. Now, what happened
Instead of
here
3
is
months,
that
6.
the ship had actually
Yeah, well, see, that's
traffic
an old one
device
I
to
got.
be
I'd have to, because
so
now,
of
you know,
potential
I have to
attacks.
tell them,
That didn't stop it from being taken over by
go
the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. They
pay
said
your
they said,
membership fee, and I reimburse you via Venmo or. That's just an old letter I got years ago, and I said, "Darn, that's a good way to recruit people." And I started sending that letter out, and the company I was with went bankrupt. But you know, I got like 3 or 4 people wanting to do that, you know, and I just want to go off something similar.
Yeah, but you could start attracting right off the bat
to
bottom.
Iranian threats
Yeah,
to
but
retaliate against the
I gotta advertise something.
the embassy in Damascus.
Once you get people in there, they stay, especially all the training in there.
Reza Zahadi of the Quds Force and 13 other people.
But I'd have to say,
so it's
you sign up and I'd reimburse you.
there have been reactions from Israel, of course, from the United
Because
States.
like I said, that was a good letter. That usually that Turner
the ship to be
talk
released
money making.
immediately, but this is
Like I said,
not
I sent that. They said there were some people that was using that. They were recruiting people like crazy.
keep up its
And,
threats to retaliate against
Yeah,
us.
you can
Yeah, we have been waiting for that
digitize
retaliatory
Yeah.
attack. Philip, do you think
That's the way to go.
that's all? That was it?
They got
Bottom line here, Alice,
everybody
we
is
don't
on
know,
Facebook.
and there are several reasons
Yeah.
for this. The first
Well,
one
see,
is
my
that
sponsors
nobody
sponsor
in the
people like
region
crazy,
really
but I don't
wants
know
this to
how you
scale
do it.
out of control and to become a much wider conflict in
They
the
promised us
region. Basically,
a
they're
capture
taking
page
Damascus
tonight
because
for
Israel
$37. I asked them about it. He said, as soon as I get it fixed, I'll let you know. So I get it moved.
equipment to Hezbollah, which
So he
is
may have his favorites
northern
on
Israel from Lebanon.
They do.
That is something
It's
that,
like a pyramid.
Iran
They have
Yeah.
their
is trying to, Israel is trying to put a stop
people
to.
that goes
There's
out
also
3 or 4
the fact
times
that
a
Iran
day
supports Hamas, which
speaking
of
to
course is
people. I
the
mean,
group that Israel is fighting
there are
against
some
in
wannabes
Gaza Strip.
that
So
just
these
want
are
to sit
all
around and don't do
reasons that
nothing.
Israel feels that it has the legitimacy
course
to go
they-
ahead and to bomb Iranian
They
targets
were-
today outside Iran, back in Damascus. But of course,
We'll
it's
try to
not in
cut
their
grass a little
wider
bit.
interest to
I
spread
got
this
that.
out to
There ain't no sun in the backyard. I got that
Hezbollah's
solar.
interest either for this to be spread out into
Ain't no sun in the
wider
backyard right
conflict.
now.
So I think
Yeah.
what we're seeing here gradually is the
But
question being posed
I
within Iran itself
checked the
as to what
lighting.
exactly Iran can do.
It's
Because Iran
off
doesn't really
the,
want this to scale out of control either, to become a much
the,
wider conflict. It knows that if it
SOS
strikes
mode.
directly in Israel,
What's
it's
it
going
on?
to incur a
They
massive
still-
response not only
I
from
still
Israelis
have
but
to
also
get
from
up there with
Americans.
a ladder
The
and
Council
find
already
out
issued
how
a
to
statement yesterday from
cut it
President
on
Biden
like
with the word
the
simply reading
Like
don't.
one.
So
on
I think
the-
Iran
that
needs
Danny
in
put
its
up.
mind to
Well, Danny didn't have
retaliate. It
coming
doesn't
on,
know
though. I had to
exactly
get up
how it's
there,
going to do
remember?
that, but at some point
And turn
it's going to have to come up with some
No.
kind of maneuver.
Danny
Is this it? Was this
killed
taking of
us,
the ship? Or is there going to be
thing
something else that we still don't know as we speak?
for 2 of them come on and stay on.
Philip, thank you so much for that. That's
But
our
they wasn't
international
coming on.
affairs
Remember, I had to get down there and get up on the ladder and turn.
The Israeli
Not the
army
ones on
says that
ladder,
an Israeli
the ones that
teenager that went missing in the
he
occupied
built.
West Bank has
Oh, the
been
ones
found
that
murdered. The
electricity.
14-year-old disappeared from an illegal outpost
Remember
near
Oh, the ones he
Hezbollah
built.
on
They're not
Friday.
coming on.
A search party of
They're
Israeli
on.
settlers
Yeah.
killed a Palestinian
And
man as they raided a
they stay
village
on.
searching
That's
for
what
him.
it
They
should
set
be.
houses and cars
Yeah,
on
the ones
fire
on
and
the
fired
building.
shots that also injured
No,
dozens
the
of
ones
others.
on the building.
Dozens of
it's like
settlers returned to the village's outskirts this Saturday, burning 2 homes and several
on
cars.
this what you call it?
Turning now to
Sensor
Sydney,
mode.
Australia, where at least 6
Some
people have now
animal
been
walk by,
confirmed
person
dead
walk
after
by
a
or
knife
something.
attack at a shopping center in the city's suburbs.
See, I
A man
had
stabbed 9
that
people,
one that
including
you put
a
up.
9-month-old
Is this guy
baby.
new,
He
right?
was shot dead by
No,
police.
Mark's been here
Authorities say
before.
they believe the suspect acted
The second
alone,
one
and while there
is,
was no immediate
new.
indication of a motive, they do not believe that it was terror related. We can hear some reaction now from witnesses.
Are you working today?
No, I'm off on the weekend.
You want to go with us?
No, I'm gonna have to cut grass today.
Escalators, red shirt, black shorts,
And
with a
that
big black knife in his hand. I just
blanket
really calmly, he was just walking like he was having a nice
Yeah, in one though.
and just as we come around the corner, there he
You
was.
just
He just,
go
I mean, he
because
just started fronting towards us.
Because they have like a theory for, you know, that everybody drive the car.
But we were not she didn't shoot him.
or maybe Danny.
And then it have not many.
It's something you
You
just
gotta go
see
in
that
like in
overseas. You are
like
grateful
an
you don't go through this in
it have like
Australia.
one of
But
town.
and I think a knife is one thing
I got
when
an
it's
email
a floor away
my
from you and you can
supervisor
see it,
too,
and it's
because I
not an
went
immediate advantage. But gunshots are a
last
colorful
night,
thing,
and,
right? Because you don't know where they're coming from.
There's a big old.
You can just sit down with them because you cannot hear. Mainly I and
It's a first step
and
to
him
restoring
and
security
the
to
food right there is
country that has
super
been
good,
ravaged
like
by
you
gang
know,
violence.
burger of
Still,
how
it
that's
doesn't
not the
name the
best.
new
That's what
council members
everybody
or
is.
establish a timeline for installing the council, leaving many questions
Burger.
still unanswered. After the decree was published, there were more reports of gunfire in
You
the
ever heard
capital, Port-au-Prince,
the
and a police union said that an
Dipstick
officer
Tea.
was shot dead.
Getting loose on a vehicle?
Mass evacuations continue in parts
The
of
tea,
Russia and
you stick the
Kazakhstan as water
dipstick in
levels
it.
in the Ural River continue to
They got
rise.
special lube
Emergency workers
for
in
it.
the Russian
None of
city
it.
of Orenburg
The tea
near the Kazakhstan
is
border
loose.
say that the water has risen to nearly
Like,
13
oh,
meters.
that guy can't even get the dipstick all the way back in there. He leaves it
Images from
out.
the city show
I'm
entire
sure it's
districts
slinging oil
submerged in
out
water.
the
The flooding began after a dam on
top
the
of
river
tubes.
burst
I
last
went in
week.
last
It was
night and he
under
didn't
pressure
drive
from a
because
surge in meltwater
so
caused
many
by
people
rapidly
out.
warming
They had
temperatures
him drive
and
the van
had
and I
melted
drove the
snow
bus.
and ice, causing
And
many rivers to burst their banks.
there's a big old oil spot on the
And our
truck.
live there
So I
for
just,
this edition.
I might
Stay
have
with
to
us.
email
More
her
news
and say,
coming
y'all
up in
need to
just
get
a
that fish. I don't know if it's leaking oil or what. But
It don't
tubes,
leak oil for long.
huh?
It don't leak oil for long. I mean, the engine frees up.
And coming up next.
You know, when you put the dipsticks,
This week's edition looks
T
at how the violence in Myanmar
loose.
is pushing
And he
refugees
can't
to
get
flee
all
to
in. He's
Thailand as the
afraid
ruling
he's gonna
junta
break
faces
it.
heavy
So I
losses
push it
in
all
its
the way
fight.
down in and get it because I'll come in and it's up above that. We won't even stick it down there. Well, you know, it'll be up that far. So I push it down and I think it's leaking oil out of it or slinging it out.
Violence in Myanmar pushes refugees fleeing to Thailand. The ruling junta faces heavy losses in its fight with armed groups.
That guy's
India
not
gears up
very
for a 6-week
careful.
election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hoping to secure
I mean,
a third term in
one
office,
time
but
the
the
little
opposition
pouch would
accusing the
zip up,
ruling
but the
BJP
credit
of
card,
tilting the
he couldn't even get that zip back of his own.
parliamentary
You gotta
elections in
use some
South Korea and the liberal opposition a
muscle on
landslide victory.
sometimes, you know. But
Analysts say the
if
poll,
something
which
don't
was a
work, you just
referendum on President
gives
Yoon,
up.
has turned him from a lame duck to a dead duck. But first, troops in Myanmar have confirmed they've withdrawn their positions in a trade hub near the border with Thailand. Fighting between the army and armed resistance groups have been flaring for months.
It looks beautiful,
Heavy
but
losses, and the new reality has resulted
not
in an exodus
Yeah, I
of
knew.
Burmese
I saw it
flooding
high down
into
there.
Thailand.
They was talking about that at the
They're among the
42
4,000 Burmese per day who are fleeing the town of
that's the
Myanmar and
economy
seeking
is there.
refuge across the border in
The
Thailand.
grass
Nairobi in
because they
southern
are
Myanmar has been at the heart of clashes which erupted earlier this week
winter,
between the
summer,
junta
fall.
troops stationed there and the ethnic
And they make
minority
the money
group
too,
Karen National
100,000 a
Union.
year.
Artillery shells and
They got
gunfire
nice
have
trucks.
prompted residents to leave, with border crossings doubling in just 1 week.
I'm afraid pretty
I
good.
feel safer on this side of the border.
Water.
They can't
Really?
bomb
The
Thailand.
reason I like it though, you can
According
sit
to
there
the
and drink
junta's
something, you go up there and
spokesman,
fill your
200
own
Myanmar
coffee back
troops
up. And if you
stationed
go
in
to Burger
Maiwadi
King or
have
something, they fill
abandoned
it
their
up right
posts
behind the
and are
counter.
sheltering on a bridge linking the trade town to the Thai district of Mae Sot. Thailand's foreign minister is visiting Mae Sot as the country makes preparations to take in
Wow,
what they
it's
estimate
surprising.
could be 100,000 people
Changed
fleeing
the-
fighting in Myanmar.
That might
You are
be some possibility
considered
of the massive flood
going
into
up
Thailand.
parties
So that's why the
with
Thai government need to
Yeah, I
need
think I might start going
to
in
get
there.
ready to plan
Just get
on
something
a
else to eat
more
besides
comprehensive
that
approach
super
to deal with
sausage.
situation.
Myanmar
I
has
thought
been
they
deep in conflict
made
since its
that
army
illegal,
overthrew a
supersized.
democratic
It's
elected
new in there.
government
They
in
usually don't have that.
2021.
They have
But the
that
junta's
super
facing
sausage. I think
territory and
super
troop loss as
bacon.
multiple rebel groups have launched
Fried egg look
offensives.
good on it, you know, but that's just too much sausage. Two
India is set to
pieces of
kick off its
sausage.
general election process on the 19th of April. The vote will be staggered over a 6-week period. The ruling BJP is hoping to retain its
I just went
majority
down and
so
saw
Prime
that
Minister
sticker.
Narendra Modi can
That's
secure a
good.
third term in office. The main
But yeah,
opposition
they got a lot
Congress
of
Party,
older men.
meanwhile, is
There's
promising
one
to
poor
create
guy in there.
jobs for the youth
He came in
and
and
stop
said, "You're
India's
finding
slide
the
into
debit
what
card."
it
And he said,
says
"Yeah, I
is
left.
an
Found
autocracy.
it down there.
The
I
results
think he
are
said
due
down there
on
at
the 4th
Walmart
of
at the
June,
gas
but before the
station."
vote kicks
He
off,
said
the
he went back
production
there
of
and then they
campaign
had it
merchandise has rolled into
behind
fifth gear. Vedika Behar
cashier counter. And
The
he said,
world's
"You're
largest
elected." He
election
said,
is
"Well, I left
looming.
it in here the
Producers
other
and
day
political
too."
party
Nobody said he
merchandise
came
are
in there and he
working
said, "I saw you down at the gas
expanding
station
their
out at
operations
Walmart."
to
He said,
cope with the surging
he said he
demand.
came in
Many
Harley
garment
said,
makers have
I
converted
lost
their
my
sari
debit card.
factories
And they said,
into a hub for
"Well," he
election
said, "I saw you
flags.
down there at the gas station, Walmart. Go down there." He said, "It's not illegal down there." So he went down there and he did leave it down there. Then he said he left it hard the other day, poor guy.
As many people
Now, he must have been in his 80s. He had
party
to
workers
walk.
use flags to
He's
promote
lucky
their
if he
symbols
turned in.
and hang them
Most
outside
people find
houses
that card
and
out.
make them their campaign media.
Yeah, I mean,
Election merchandise is a
scary
high volume,
when you-
low margin business, with the price of a political party badge starting at 1 rupee, about 1 euro cent.
say one
According to
thing,
merchandise
five
dealers,
minutes later,
political parties
you
spend
get like
30
all
to 50
having all
billion rupees
kinds.
on their branded wares, creating up to 10
Who's coming
million
out
jobs.
of
The country's election is held in 7
Mark.
phases over 2 months, with merchandise sales set to boom across different regions in line with the phase.
Ron,
In the last
he's got
election
a
in
new
2019, Narendra
book
Modi
tour
Bharat Janata Party spent a
in
record sum,
May.
and it
He
seems his
said
party
May.
has once again
It's
outspent the
coming up
rest.
pretty soon.
In terms of buying
And
merchandise,
Italy,
no one's remotely
he
opposed to
got
BJP.
a tour
The
around
candidates are scared to
Italy
purchase
for a
goods and
couple
will
of
be
weeks.
purchased after their nomination is filed.
He usually
The
brings
centre of
me
election
the
merchandise is in the PM's home state
illustration,
of Gujarat,
the
as well as
artist
hotspots like
rendering
Hyderabad in the
thing.
south
I mean,
and northern Mathura,
one, he
India's
brought
most
me
populated
one from
state of Andhra
France.
Pradesh.
It
Phase
looks
1 is due to begin April 19th, with
beautiful.
vote counting slated for early
Illustrate
June.
his works
South Korea's president is said to remain a lame duck for
they're
the rest
digital
of his
artists,
office.
and
This
they're
after recent parliamentary polls
man,
handed the
amazing.
Liberal opposition a landslide
I wonder
victory.
what gets them
South
artists.
Korea's prime minister and other
I
senior
know.
presidential officials have
They-
offered to resign as the
They're
country's
under
president promises
contract like
to
a
reform. These are campaign
freelance contractor.
Has he got a new
It's a
book out?
crushing victory as
Yeah,
described by political observers. South Korea's
What
liberal
does he do? Write
opposition
a
parties
book a year
have
or
won the
something?
country's
He's the
parliamentary
most
elections,
prolific
holding the
writer
majority of
I
President
ever
Yoon's
met.
camp,
I mean,
including Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and the
he's
People
putting
Power
it,
Party leader to resign.
writing the book always, then
On behalf
read
of my party, I
packaging
apologize to
the
the people
books in
for falling
different
short.
packages and things,
I
and
solemnly
portraits.
accept the will of the people
He
and
does
am
it like
deeply remorseful.
24 hours a day.
I therefore accept full responsibility for the election results.
Yeah, he's a professor too.
With all the votes counted, the opposition's official landslide win has left President Yoon
That's
secure as the People Power Party.
The one that I'm reading right
became
now.
widely unpopular in recent months over a series of corruption scandals.
that would
the failure to deliver on
put,
his policy agenda now promises changes to
Matrix.
his administration and a series of
Have
reforms to stabilize the
goosebumps.
economy. Voting turnout
He's
reached
got such a talent
67%,
of
the
putting
highest
things
overall
in words.
election elections since
It's
1992.
amazing.
The winning opposition
He
parties
writes about
aims to
Korea
meet
and
these voters' needs.
and it brings back the stories that Uncurse told us.
But a great victory for our people.
It's amazing.
Our Democratic Party will do its best to preserve the
And
precious meaning of every vote
he
cast.
Wednesday's election
uses
was
a
widely
real
seen as
life
a
example of
midterm
his
confidence
uncle.
vote on President
Oh, really?
Yoon. Now his
Is
domestic
this about his
agenda
uncle?
for the remaining 3 years
Caretaker
of
of
office
Simmons?
is likely to be
Yeah.
set back as he
I mean,
faces his liberal opponents in the National Assembly.
I don't know
Joe Biden said the alliance with
what
Japan
his
was
intention
unbreakable
was
as
about
he
that.
hosted
I
the
mean,
country's
it's
prime
just
minister at the
amazing.
White House. Fumio Kishida's state visit to Washington came as tensions with North Korea are on the
Just
rise.
reading the
Earlier this
Yeah.
month, Pyongyang fired a missile towards the Sea of Japan. It
Reading
was
the
the third such test
introduction
this
here,
year,
it's
which
amazing.
resulted in some Japanese building bunkers as far as 24
he just has
found out.
a way for
Yeah.
These fishermen are preparing to go to sea.
Like,
North
did you
Korea
read that?
recently launched a missile towards Japanese waters, but these men, one of whom spoke to us anonymously, are trying to stay calm.
Who wrote the inscription?
Yes, it's dangerous,
Right.
but if something lands in the sea, I won't be able to escape.
Where's the inscription?
Unlike cars, we can't immediately steer our boats away from danger.
On the brain page.
After North Korea fired 25 missiles in the direction of Japan last year, more people here are protecting themselves. The country has 56,000 private bomb shelters compared to just 1,000 in France.
For Arthur and Taiwan.
Koyumo Yoshimitsu explains the latest models at this security fair.
This shelter can accommodate a family of 5.
Well, you ought to keep that.
This 6 square meter bunker costs 80,000 euros. That's a lot of money,
Is that
but
the
no
signature?
Japanese are willing to pay. They're worried
Yeah,
about
it's like,
Korean threats and have one
I
eye
seen
on the war
someone-
in Ukraine.
I was watching Palm Stars on Facebook, and they had
In the event of an
a
attack,
guy that wrote a book
radioactive
by
fallout could be
Charles
spread by the wind.
Lindbergh. He had a
This way,
signature in it.
people would
and it was
risk
worth- The guy was
exposure to
asking
radiation,
6,500.
but
The
they would
woman
be
said
safe inside this
they
bunker.
came in and praised it. So it was like 15,000.
In case of an emergency,
Yeah.
the government's J Alert
He's
system
found
sends loud warnings to residents
Yeah,
via
autograph.
mobile phones and other means.
Copy of his
But
book.
experts say the alerts are not enough.
That's a collector's item, man.
A missile launched by North Korea can reach Japan in 7
His
minutes.
signature
We have
is
to
almost
educate people
illegible.
so they know where to take cover.
illegible almost.
But that's why you have to have experts.
For the millions who
Yeah.
don't own a bunker, that means heading to the nearest windowless room or subway station.
That's it for this edition of Access.
But
Asia.
he's a prolific writer. I mean, he just is non-stop. His brain, you can just see it's always taking notes around.
But you know, he's got to do a lot of research on that too.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what good about note taking. If you don't write it down,
You think he writes it down or records it down?
probably use them both.
Didn't he do a novel about a murder case here in Clemson or something?
Yeah, he got it. He wrote that. He got a whole list. I mean, since Arena they made that movie, he just been nonstop.
Serena, what was that?
The coal mine daughter, Virginia, and they were cutting pulpwood. I mean, it's amazing. All the
Would we, didn't Dad cut pulpwood years ago or some relatives? I've heard that before.
yeah,
Because
it's like
that's the only option for
Billy
Putin gave us.
had a
You know,
pulp
to
truck or
fight against them because
Billy
our
passed away so
protest,
young.
and if you want to change something, well, that's the only option.
I like Billy. Billy was super nice.
And I only got one memory of helping death by paint in my car. But I think it was Billy was in the pulpwood
I think so too. Either him or Gail's husband.
Yeah, could be. They're partners. Because the whole family is partners in something serious. And I told you about that fiber optic guy. He's from Abbeville. He knows all kinds of serious.
Oh, really? Probably knows Park Lane too. Yeah, the Sears right in Abbeville is right next door to Greenwood and
Abbeville. Picture that's the hell. It's like an old town that never grew up. Greenwood, called Greenwood Mills.
Well, I remember Abbeville. It reminds me of your traditional southern small town, like it had bricks from downtown Main Street. Brick road. I guess it was like it before they had pavement or something. Remember Brick Road downtown Main Street? Because Glenn lived in Abbeville with Ann. After he ran away from Tomasi,
Join us every day
gave
for the
up.
latest news from the world of culture on Arts 24.
Hi, Mark.
All right.
He's all ready to go, and your therapist is ready for you. You can have a seat. And she'll be with you in a second.
Okay. I've got the black Volvo out there, so don't sell it.
Fighting on the front line in Russia's war against Ukraine. He joined the army after coming across a recruitment ad shared by a local resident on social media. It started on TikTok. My husband came across a Nepalese soldier in Russia who was recruiting an innocent white man. I didn't know there was a war going on there. After 45 days, I was told he was dead. I couldn't believe it, but they told me it was true and that there was nothing left of his body, only his head and hand. My children are very young and their future is at stake. They can no longer go to school because we can't afford it. He died like a nobody. There was no one to take care of his body. We'll never know what happened. Like many recruits, her husband had never had any military experience. On social media platforms, recruiters are trying to lure desperate workers. They flag these platforms with hundreds of recruitment appeals, instructional videos, and even footage of soldiers portraying an easy day-to-day life on the front lines. According to government data, over 200 Nepalese have enlisted in the Russian army, while the opposition party claims the number to be 3 times higher than the official figures. Over 33 of them have died serving in the front line. Suman was also about to lose his life. 4 months ago, this former cook was fighting Ukrainian forces alongside Russian soldiers.
All these soldiers are Nepalese. I'm still in contact with one of them. The others may have been killed since. This was the first time I held a gun.
After a week of military training, he was deployed to the front line. 25 days later, the young soldier deserted.
They put us all in front. We were the shields for the Russian soldiers who stayed behind us. They insulted us, hit us, and said they'd kill us if we refused to go to the front. One day, I heard them say that they were sending the Nepalese to die first, and that's when I decided to run away. If I'd stayed another week, I'd probably have died.
Suman did not receive any compensation as promised upon enlisting with the Russian army. The Russian government's lucrative offer of granting citizenship or a salary of 2,000 euros has resulted in a surge of visa applications, which has increased ninefold since the outbreak of war. In Kathmandu, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs asserts that no such agreement has been signed with Russia. Nepal has even appealed to the United Nations to halt Russian aggression in Ukraine.
After long negotiations, we have managed to bring back 50 Nepalese citizens safely. There is no official agreement with foreign nations to recruit our citizens. Those who joined the Russian army did so illegally, and the government was not informed. We have asked the Russian government to stop their recruitment and to send back all those who are at the front.
The authorities have struggled to control the departures. In Nepal, illegal recruitment has become commonplace. Every day, 2,000 Nepalese leave the country to seek employment abroad. This long-standing trend, spanning generations, thrives on clandestine networks. Kaviraj, a member of the Ministry of Labor's Foreign Employment Department, tries to protect the rights of migrant workers from fake recruiters.
एजेन्ट कहाँ छ अहिले फोन लाग्छ अनि के भन्छ उसले one day the body has been taken by the agent and he had been treated. That's why he wants to hide the case to us. It happens. But these are the cases we deal with daily.
Last June, numerous Nepalese soldiers from the esteemed Gorkha regiment illegally enlisted in the Russian group Wagner. These fighters are only permitted to serve in the British and Indian armies, where they make up a force of over 35,000. Renowned for their bravery and dedication, Gorkha warriors have historically been exploited to serve foreign nations.
British had this idea that hill people have unique war capabilities. They have been part of the Meso Wars, like the First World War, the Second World War. They have died in scores since then. For the countries like Russia that hire foreign military, these men are disposable bodies. Hiring a mercenary and throwing them at the forefront during war is practiced by every other country. It's not just the Russians, not just the British, it's every other country that hires mercenaries.
After months of diplomatic negotiations, Russia finally agreed in February to compensate the families of the deceased Nepalese soldiers. Currently, Nepal has suspended permits for its citizens to work in Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, let me get in there. Good morning. How are you?
In 1971, the Bangladesh nation was born. It marked the end of a 9-month struggle for independence, which took the lives of as many as 3 million people.
My father told me that he saw during the war so much atrocities against the women and children.
Half a century later, the textile industry has given the nation a boost, but numerous natural disasters place Bangladesh at the forefront of climate change.
Back then we had fish, goats, cows, and other dairy animals, but by adding more salt to the water, we lost everything.
A nation that is looking ahead, but must come to terms with its past. The birth of Bangladesh Revisited on France 24 and France24.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Around the World here on France 24. Our headlines this Saturday. Israel accuses Iran of piracy after the Revolutionary Guard seizes an Israeli-affiliated container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. It comes as the region has been bracing for some form of reprisal. We'll have analysis from our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. At least 6 people confirmed dead in Sydney, Australia, after a knife attack at a shopping centre. The suspect was shot dead by police, who say they do not believe that terrorism was the motive. And Haiti formalizes the creation of its 9-member transitional council, a first step to restoring security, though the members have not been named, and a timeline for installing them has yet to be established. Thank you for joining us. We begin once again in the Strait of Hormuz, where Iran's Revolutionary Guard has seized an Israeli-affiliated container ship. A group of commandos rappelled down from a helicopter to board the vessel. It was identified as a Portuguese-flagged ship associated with London-based Zodiac Maritime, part of a group owned by an Israeli billionaire. It comes as the region has been bracing for reprisal from Iran after a deadly strike on its consulate in Syria earlier this month. Israel's foreign minister reacted, accusing Tehran of conducting piracy. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. Philip, good to see you. What more can you tell us about this ship and the conditions under which it was seized?
Well, the attack happened right in the middle of the night, 2:35 a.m. GMT this morning, when the ship was travelling just off the coast of Japan, heading towards the Strait of Hormuz. That was where it was last detected on Friday. What happened here is that the ship had actually switched off its tracking device to keep it out of the zone of potential attacks. That didn't stop it from being taken over by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They sent in, as you said, forces by a helicopter, who had then descended onto the ship, taking 25 crew members hostage. And now they've issued a statement saying that that ship had been taken off into Iranian waters. Now, this isn't the first time that there have been seizures of ships by the Iranians. They've always said in the past this was not linked to geopolitical stories or issues, but it appears this time around that this could be linked to Iranian threats to retaliate against the bombing of the embassy in Damascus last week, which killed the Brigadier General Mohammed Reza Zahadi of the Quds Force and 13 other people. But we don't know. So it's got this ship, Iran, at the moment. There have been reactions from Israel, of course, from the United States, calling for the ship to be released immediately. But this is not a good sign of what could be to come from Iran if it's going to keep up its threats to retaliate against the bombing of its embassy in Damascus.
Yeah, we have been waiting for that retaliatory attack. Philip, do you think that's all? That was it?
Well, the bottom line here, Alice, is we don't know, and there are several reasons for this. The first one is that nobody in the region really wants this to scale out of control and to become a much wider conflict in the region. Basically, the attack in Damascus happened because Israel is unhappy about the fact that Iran is supplying munitions and equipment to Hezbollah, which is launching attacks into northern Israel from Lebanon. That is something that Israel is trying to put a stop to. There is also the fact that Iran supports Hamas, which of course is the group that Israel is fighting against in the Gaza Strip. So these are all reasons that Israel feels that it has legitimacy to go ahead and to bomb Iranian targets, be they outside Iran, like in Damascus. But of course, it's not in their wider interest to spread this out into a larger conflict. It's not in Hezbollah's interest either for this to be spread out into a wider conflict. So I think what we're seeing here gradually is a question being posed within Iran itself as to what exactly Iran can do, because Iran doesn't really want this to scale out of control either, to become a much wider conflict. It knows that if it strikes Israel directly in Israel, it's going to incur a massive response, not only from the Israelis, but also from the Americans. The Americans have already issued a statement yesterday from President Biden with the word simply reading "don't." So I think Iran needs in its mind to retaliate. It doesn't know exactly how it's going to do that, but at some point it's going to have to come up with some kind of maneuver. Is this it? Was this taking over the ship it? Or is there going to be something else that we still don't know as we're speaking?
All right. We're going to have to wait and see, Philip. Thank you so much for that. That's our international affairs editor, Philip. The Israeli army says that an Israeli teenager that went missing in the occupied West Bank has been found murdered. The 14-year-old disappeared from an illegal outpost near Ramallah on Friday. A search party of Israeli settlers killed a Palestinian man as they raided a village searching for him. They set houses and cars on fire and fired shots that also injured dozens of others. Dozens of settlers returned to the village's outskirts this Saturday, burning 2 homes and several cars. Turning now to Sydney, Australia, where at least 6 people have now been confirmed dead after a knife attack at a shopping centre in the city's suburbs. A man stabbed 9 people, including a 9-month-old baby, before he was shot dead by police. Authorities say they believe the suspect acted alone, and while there was no immediate indication of a motive, they do not believe that it was terror-related. We can hear some reaction now from witnesses.
They just said 111, someone's been stabbed. And so we were inside Dior, they closed the doors, and we saw the guy come up the escalators, green shirt, shorts, with a big black knife in his hand. And just really calmly, he was just walking like he was having an ice cream in the park. Just around the corner, there he was, he just come out and just started fighting towards us, and all I heard was put it down. And then she shot him, like we were on 90 feet. She didn't shoot him, well, he would have kept going. He was on the rampage, he was on the rampage.
It's something you see that overseas, you are grateful we don't go through this in Australia. And I think a knife is one thing when it's a floor away from you and you can see it and it's sort of an immediate danger, but gunshots are a completely different thing, right? Because you don't know where they're coming from.
Oh, I ran a little over time today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to join us next Saturday at 9 a.m.
Still, it doesn't name the new
to 9:15 a.m. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you next week.
Was published, there were more reports of gunfire in the capital, Port-au-Prince, and a police union said that an officer was shot dead.